Hey everyone, welcome to another issue of Jay and Bax's Expensive Paper. Today we've got a special guest with us. His name is Matt. He is from M Pressed Comics. Matt, where can all of our fans find your socials? How can they contact you? Tell us all about yourself.
You can find me on Instagram at m-pressed comics. Actually, it's m just one word, m-pressed comics on Instagram, and on YouTube it's m-pressed comics. But if you type any of it in, it'll all pop up for you.
All right. Well, check him out. He does great work, and we are going to be learning all about his journey and what he likes to collect. So stick around, and yeah, we're excited to just dive in and have this conversation with you.
Yeah, thanks for
So
having me in here. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
and thanks for
Yeah,
being here. We're excited.
yeah, definitely. Thank you for joining. If you don't follow Matt, follow him. He does great work. As you'll see today, we're going to do some unveiling on some of the books that he worked on for me that then got shipped off to CGC and I did authentication. So stick around. We're going to showcase his great work. And yeah, Matt, tell us a little about yourself. How did you get started with comic books?
Well, my thing actually stems back to baseball cards. So I've collected baseball cards and kind of football cards since I was a kid. I was born in '78, and I got my brother's all of his doubles back in 1981, 1982. He gave to me, and through from then till I don't know 4 or 5 years ago, I had amassed a collection, and it was a little over 700,000 cards. And I always had this thing in my head that frustrated me that I couldn't fix my cards, and the answer was always to go buy another one. So I'd have this wrinkled one, it wasn't Mickey Mantle or anything like that, but $300-400 cards, and it would just kill me that I couldn't fix them. And then when I got into comic books, and then finally found YouTube a couple of years ago, and stumbled on people saying they could fix their comic books, that just instantly lit a fuse in me. So I've been building cars for the better part of 40 years now, and I basically take a car that's messed up and looks bad, I fix it, I make it better, and then it goes on its way either for a customer or to sell for profit or whatever. And then it was kind of the same thing with a comic book. I would get this Amazing Spider-Man 238 that looked great except for that big bin that was up here. Let's figure out how to fix it. And then I stumbled on Jim James, he's about an hour and a half from me, and he lives in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and he runs a website and a YouTube channel called Improve Collecting. And he actually now has a school set up to where you can pay and join, and you can get all of the steps, start to finish, everything you need to know, not only to clean and press, but now he has did an additional course that's in here, or additional curriculum that's in there, buying and selling. So all of his techniques for where he looks, what he's looking for, if you're looking online, if you're looking in person, and that kind of stuff. So I got with him, gosh, probably 2 years ago. I guess I started following him and hanging out with him, talking with him a little bit more, and getting into that. And then earlier, either at the end of last year or it might have been the very start of this year, I was doing a CGC unboxing over on Colossus Collector's channel, Ryan, and I had Brandon from Mon Comics on there with us, and it was one of the I don't remember which CGC submission it was, but it's just a group of books that I had, and opened it up, and Jeff from Comic Spa happened to be in the chat on that one, so ended up getting a couple of nice words from Jeff in there, and I was this is ridiculous. Why is he even in here watching me do anything? And starting that night, Brandon put me and Jeff together, and that sort of led to me just getting to hang out with Jeff. We would basically do a video call about every Friday, just talking. And I finally had somebody I could talk to anytime I wanted to, that understood just how hard I'm having to work to make this thing look as good as it does. And it was pretty therapeutic for the both of us to just bounce ideas, or hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what it started like. This is what it ended up as. And so my friendship with Jeff has grown, significantly. He's usually the first person that I reach out to if I've got something difficult that I worked on that I fixed, or hey, I'm about to dive into this pool. I'm just going to show you what it looks like now. And It's just, I don't know, it's a great friendship that I've got with him. So that's worked out well. And that's sort of the background of what funneled me into what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
Jeff is
awesome. And
here
Jeff
from
is
the
here, so
Oh,
he calls
nice.
you
we'll say
Mr. He calls you Mr.
we'll say
9.8.
He does.
we'll say hi to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Thanks for
Hey,
tuning
Doug.
in.
Thanks for
There's
joining, everyone.
Doug, the comic collector coach, and there's the Jedi Master himself, Jeff
Absolutely.
from Comics.
Jeff, I still have those books. Still planning to send them over. My life has been crazy. Work has been crazy. So just bear with me here. I'll get them over to you.
And G. De Niro there, that's my best friend Philip that works for the company I work with over in North Louisiana.
Nice to meet you, Phil.
Nice to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
tuning in. And Jeff has some kind words for Matt, Mr. 9.8. That's pretty high praise, Matt, coming from the Jedi Master of cleaning and pressing.
Well, there is a certain technique to it. I only submit the stuff that really has a pretty good shot, and if it's my own book, I really only work on the stuff that has that potential. I do stumble and get the 9.4s and 9.6s, but I love a challenge. Doug sent me a challenge. He sent me Man Thing #1 that was signed by Roy Thomas, and my goodness, it was peppered with bullet hole, not holes, but it's like somebody tried to shoot through it, and I mean there were dimples all in that cover, and I loved it. When I opened it up, I was like, okay, let's just roll the sleeves up and let's make this better. And it took it was probably close to 2 weeks of working on it because you can't overdo it. You can't push too hard. You just sort of need to sneak up on it, and it turned out great, really really great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I view your work, Jeff's work, anyone that works to restore these comics as like its own art form. I just admire the skill set that you guys have, and I'm envious of it. I hope someday I have enough time where I can at least attempt to.
That's the key is time, and that before I even touched my first customer's book, I had a rule set that I was going to do 100 of my own, and I was going to be pleased with 100 in a row.
Mhm.
When I got to the point to where I found one that I either didn't do well, I messed up on, or it just didn't react the way that I wanted, the count starts over. And so I'm just piling these books up. But I finally got to that point, and during those 100 books, that's when I would send stuff out to CGC, and just to have somebody check my work, basically. Speaking of checking work with Jeff, that was one of the things that we talked about at one of our first conversations we ever had was I've got 3 books from 3 different ages, and I wanted to send them to him for him to look at before I even touch anything, for him to look at it, make his own notes, and then he sent them back to me. I went ahead and fixed them. I sent them up there to him when I got done, let him review them, and just so he could see exactly what my work looks like. It's not edited with pictures. It's not, I mean, with any AI or any photo editor or anything like that. It's the real thing. And so that was fun having Jeff sort of check my work for me. That was quite nice.
Yeah, that's a great resource to have.
For sure.
What do you find is like the most difficult? I'm trying to think of the word, like restoration, or what's like the most difficult aspect of fixing a book for you?
I think like the most physical difficulty is probably the one that looks like you've got like a ballpoint pen that the end of it's not out, and it does look like it was just jabbed, time and time and time again, because what that's doing is that makes that paper thinner. And while I can get a crease out and push that back up, it ends up, that paper is still thin. I can't expand it. You can put water, any kind of moisture in it or whatever, and you can make it more pliable. But that is the difficult one to work with, because if you push too much, it's easy to go too far too fast, and there's no coming back. Honestly, the most difficult thing is sort of working with different customers' expectations. They think that their books are 9/8, and they send them to me, and when I put them under the lights, I've got a whole table of lights right here, and I get them under the light. It breaks my heart, because what they sent me might be an 8/5, and they didn't see this, they didn't see this, and I can fix most everything except color breaks, and can't do that. And then they don't see them, and So that's the worst part of this entire job, is delivering bad news.
Yeah. How do you go about handling that bad news?
It's very, very robotic, very
Okay.
mechanical. As soon as I get them in, the first thing I do is take all the before pictures, and that is like, as soon as I pull it out of the box, I'll go ahead and take the picture if the box was compromised or any way, just to show exactly how I got it. And then if there's anything that's off, if it looks like a staple's been changed, if something jumps out at me, I'll go ahead and take those pictures. And before I do anything else, I go ahead and send it to them and say, I can go ahead and box it up, send it back to you, or I can proceed and, we'll get what we get. But the main thing that they don't want, is a purple label. Nobody wants a
Yeah.
purple label. And that's what I'm trying to get in front of, try to check for any kind of restoration that I can that's already been done, color touch, any of that kind of thing. Making sure that the cover lines up with the rest of the book, that it wasn't married on there, and that kind of thing. So it's just just a checklist I go down, and if it's bad news, I just let them know that, I mean, they know it's not my fault, which is, they're all
Yeah.
reasonable people.
Okay.
I turn as many people away as I say yes to,
Okay.
which has always been a good thing. But one of those things, if you get a message from somebody, and number one, if you don't know them, and you can kind of check the pages too, Instagram page, and I don't know, that's probably not somebody I want to work with. So,
Yeah,
and the other
that's
thing is,
important.
I can always go out and find my own books and do all the work to it, and then end up flipping those and make more profit than I can, cleaning and pressing somebody else's book.
Sure.
But it's just fun to do the other work for everybody else, and I don't know, it's just addictive.
Yeah, I can see how that would definitely be the case. It's like proving your skill set over and over again and getting that validation. Um, so just out of curiosity, because we're going to be doing some reveals later, is this going to be the first time that you've seen like a live reveal of your work?
No, I guess the last time was with Brandon. He
Okay.
had sent me his Keanu Reeves and Ron Garney signed Berserker #1 foil that I fixed for him, and sent it off to CGC, and then it got shipped to him. And then he held on to it for, gosh, I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I had to sit and wait and squirm and all those kinds of things. And then we start the live show, and then we just keep going and going. And I'll talk forever if you guys don't shut me up. And that's what was happening. And finally, I don't know how long we were into that stream, but it felt like forever. And finally, it was like, open the box, please. So we finally did, and luckily that one got a 9.8, and that is luckily one of the ones that Brandon was able to get out of there. So he's
Nice. Yeah,
still,
yeah. I remember
Yeah.
hearing that. So
He managed to save that book. I remember that stream, and I remember, you were confident, but you were also a little bit hesitant because it was a foil
I
and it had that
I
one.
never thought it would be a 9.8. I 9.6 on its best day is what I thought, because I figured they were going to ding it pretty hard just because of that foil break, which looks kind of like a color break, and that's something you could only see in a certain light. But still, I said, no, there's no way. I was so excited when he pulled that thing out and it was 9.8. I was so happy that night.
Yeah, I was excited for both of you. And Doug was on that stream too. So
Yeah, sure
shout
was.
out to Coach. Um, you mentioned how you kind of have to work at it and do it in your craft and how you want to master things, and you were going to start working on other people's books once you hit 100 of yours that were, we'll call them perfect. But how many times did you have to go back to zero?
3. I got to 8 the first time, had to go back. I got to 13 the next time, and then I got to 20, 26 or 28 the third time, and that was it. And then everything else went the way that I wanted. And the 3 that got goofed up is there was too much moisture the very first time, and this was when I first started doing it. It was a few years ago. I don't remember exactly how long ago it was, but so the moisture was the first thing. Finding the breaking point of a 1984 He-Man book, 1982 He-Man book, was the second one. That was where I learned, don't push too hard and don't go too fast. And then the last one sits in this bottom drawer of this X-Men cabinet down here, was a Wolverine 67 that it's not worth anything, but just, I enjoy that cover. And I forgot to put my gloves on when I was doing a little bit of steam on there. Somehow I put a fingerprint in it. And so that book sits on top of that shelf. When I open it up, I see it every time I open that drawer. I got rid of the other two books. I wish I wouldn't have, but that is my reminder that I'm never as good as I think I am. And it's really easy to make mistakes because I don't even remember touching the front of that book because all the work was on the back. So somehow, some way, I did that. So that's my reminder to always take my time. And it doesn't matter if I'm working on a $7 book or Cheddar Comics sent me a Hulk 181 that ended up being in real good shape in the end. Every step is identical. I open the box the same. I pull the board and the book out exactly the same way at the same angle. I always wear gloves when I first touch everything, and it's the same cleaning routine, the same picture routine, the same inspection routine. It doesn't matter the level of the book, and that's the easiest way to stay on track.
Yeah, no, and that's a good reminder because you don't want to get too comfortable in your own bubble because
Nope,
that's when you become sloppy, right? And that's when mistakes happen.
that's for sure, and that goes for
So,
everything in life.
Yeah.
If you put it on cruise control, it's really easy to make a mistake.
yep, if you don't ever, you get too comfortable in that bubble, then that's mistakes will happen. And
Yep.
then you're gonna end up with Cheddar's Hulk 181 mistake that you definitely don't want.
No,
Um,
I was very, very careful with that one, and then it was like, well, you know what? I'm not doing anything different than I did on that Spawn number 21 I just did the day before. Everything's exactly the same.
yeah,
Jeff's
and that
exactly right.
that was gonna be my next question. Like when you were working on those 100, were they all like cheap dollar books, or were there some expensive ones that when you got to an
For
expensive one, you were
for
like,
a little while, I
"This
did the
is it"?
dollar books, but what I started telling everybody that's in the cleaning and pressing community that we're doing is there gets to a point to where you need to have a little skin in the game, and you need to be excited about the book you're working on. So I would step it up and I would go grab a $20 book or maybe a $40 book, but it needed to be something that a book I always wanted that I didn't have in my collection yet. I needed that skin in the game. I needed that pressure to do it and do it well and figure out the techniques and figure out the routine that I'm talking about. And that's really what started driving me. And then, you step up and you do Wolverine number 8 after that, and then you start stepping up a little higher. Let's grab a first Gambit and let's do that. And so you really get yourself, and you realize, Jeff told me this a long time ago, that it doesn't matter if it's a giant size X-Men number 1. It's just another book. It's literally just another comic book. And I thought he was nuts. He's sending me pictures and telling me, yeah, I've got a GSX1 in here, I got an ASM 300 over here, and I've got this, that, and the other. And he's like, it won't take you long to realize, yeah, it's just another book. And that's exactly how it was when I've gotten Chris's Hulk 181 that he sent to me, and all of the other New Mutants 98 books and everything else that's come. It's just, I don't know, it's another book. I look at it, I know exactly what it needs, and then I get to work, and I don't really think about it until I'm putting that before and after, picture reel together in the end. It's like, oh, you know what? That's pretty cool. It's a $5,000 book I just finished. Nice.
Yeah, and that's crazy, that you guys get to work on those books because he doesn't know this, but well, he knows that he posts books on the CGC forum. Jeff does, right, and asks for the
Yep.
people what grade they think they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lurk in there, Jeff. I didn't get to tell you this, but I think you're in here still. I just go in and see his comments to see what books he's working on, and it's amazing how many big books he's working.
Yep.
By
He's
big
always,
books, I'm not talking about couple hundred bucks. I'm talking like a couple G's.
yep. I was driving one trip down to Orlando recently, several months ago. I kept getting texts from Jeff, and we pulled into a rest area, and I pulled it up, and he's sending me pictures of this what looked like a perfect Daredevil number 1 that somebody had sent to him that he's working on. I'm thinking, dang, and I'm sitting here at a rest area just outside of Ocala, Florida. Man, wish I was working on that book right now.
He says
Yeah,
he
I can
is.
see how that's really sound advice. It's just treating it like any other book, because I could, at least if I were to put myself in those shoes, if you're almost like intimidated in a way due to the cost of the book, maybe you could, make a simple mistake that you
Yep.
wouldn't have,
And
if it
it's
was a
easy
cheaper book.
mistakes to where if you're trying to clean a book, even if it's just with distilled water, a little bit of distilled water on a
Hmm.
lint-free paper towel, and you're brushing it, away from the edge, you've got to make sure you pick up high enough before you come and start that next swipe,
Hmm.
because it's super easy to just grab the end of that. I've seen it done time and time again on people's live shows and stuff that they're doing when they're working on stuff. And it's just trying to go too quick. You think you've got it under control and you don't drag far enough off of the book and then come back and start again. It's just those little bitty things that can ruin a book and ruin your day and ruin the experience with who you're working for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you talked about the hardest part about cleaning the book when you had that like blunt pen
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. What would be the easiest, you think, or the one that you're, I don't want to say most comfortable because, like you said, you have that reminder book so that you attack every book the same. But is there a piece that you find easier than others?
I love spine ticks, the spine creases. I mean, when you're number one working on 100 books before you touch another customer's books, you've done thousands and thousands and thousands of spine crease fixes, even from the little ones all the way to the deep ones that penetrated all the way through the entire book. Those are my favorite because they make the biggest difference in the before and after pictures,
Mm.
and that generally is the main fix that every book is going to need, is some type of spine crease fix. And that's the ones that I love the most, just because of the before and after difference.
Cool. Yeah, I would have not expected that answer, but I
Yeah, me
also
neither.
like I would think that would be extremely difficult to work out of there. But
Not too
yeah,
not too bad at all. It just takes time, just
yeah.
like all the rest of it. I try to go, once I get started on a book, it's usually the average is about 8 days and it'll be finished.
Okay.
And that's because I leave the books in the press for 24 hours and then I'll take them out after 24 hours. It doesn't, you can get by with, a newer age book. You can do 12 hours on it and it'll be just fine. I've sent them in, got several 9.8s, no reversion. They're sitting over here in the drawer. And so those are part of my test things of long-term testing of, okay, I did this one for 12 hours and got it sent over here to continue to watch for reversion in a, humidity controlled environment, that kind of thing. But yeah, I just decided it's not worth it. I'll just factor that into the time that it gets finished, and generally 8 days, sometimes 6, but most of the time 8 days. And that's a lot longer than a lot of other people, but I just I want to go slow. I want to make sure that I'm doing it the way I want to do it, and don't I don't think I've had any complaints, not to my face or, or through my email anyway, that anybody's complaining. So it's nice to be able to set the expectations up front and to meet the expectations, in the end, or exceed the expectations when they get the grades back. That's always a treat. So you, in everything at work and in life, I always try to what under promise and over deliver is pretty much the way to go. I'm real critical on my grading, um, more so than probably what CGC is. So I'm always low. Seems like on everything, but it works out good. It makes for a fun reveal for me when I'm opening my stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of reveals,
I know it.
Jay, should
Just
we?
like Brandon all over
Yeah, I
again.
know. Come on.
I just have one more question.
Okay, one more question. That's
One
it.
more question. Um, but before that, Jeff says he lost all fear of working on expensive books when he achieved the confidence in process and skills he developed working with the paper itself.
And
So,
Jeff came
yeah,
from a background of working at a paper company for
Mm.
many years. I'm not sure exactly how many years, and so he had the understanding of how paper was going to react, with moisture. No fear of dunking it in water, because that's how you treated paper in a paper plant, pulpwood. So it's nice to hear the stories from him of being in the plant and those kinds of things. And I still remember thinking, dunking a comic book in water was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Mhm.
Now it's not anything. I don't really do any wet clean stuff for anybody else because I'm still working through an awful lot of different trying this, trying that, doing this, doing that kind of thing on my own stuff. So I'm in the middle of that 100 book testing right now for doing wet cleaning stuff. So probably sometime next year I might throw it out there, but for now it's still just dry cleaning for me.
Yeah, and which to me is mind-boggling because, as collectors, we always say water and comic books, bad. And to see Jeff, and he did it with Mike from Lunch Comics, soaking that book it still boggles my mind, like how he just did it, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
but that's why he's a Jedi Master.
It's all with the any kind of drying, whatever drying techniques you do, and making sure to keep it flat and make sure that it's completely dry, and then put it all back together.
All right. Then my question before the reveal, it's actually kind of two questions. Back to the Hulk 181 from Cheddar. He got that graded, right?
He did.
Did you crack that book, or did he?
Oh no, I'm sorry. He it was raw when he got it. But
okay,
after
it was raw.
He got it graded. Yep.
Okay. When you got it, or did he send you pictures first, and you thought, yeah, this is one heck of a book for a candidate to bump, or?
Well, he was going to send it to get worked on anyway because it had a pretty good crease across the front. It had a spine roll, several spine creases on it. There were a lot of fixable things on that book, and he recognized that, and he knew the value jump. I think it was either in a 5.5 range when it came to me, and I thought that it was going to be probably a 7.75 book. And the numbers are astronomical, going from a 5.5 to a 7. And then I got it all finished up, and it looked so good. If anybody's watching, you hadn't already seen the reel, I've got it on Instagram, and I think it's spread to the YouTube channel too, so you can check that out. But it turned out really well, and it ended up being an 8.0, and he sold that pretty quick. As soon as he listed it up, I think he sold it that night.
Which surprised me. You've worked on it, or you haven't?
That's probably the biggest one, money value wise. Yeah.
Moving to the reveal thing.
Hey, Jay, you're kind of. I don't know if Matt's seeing this. You're kind of breaking up a little bit. Okay.
Yep, I didn't know if that was my internet or not. No. But you're clean over there on your side, but Jay's a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe you just want to turn off your camera or something like that really quick and try rejoining. Okay.
This is part of his drama to drag out.
We're not going to get to the reveal. Let's just
because it didn't happen until he started talking about opening the books.
Right.
Better, worse.
It's I can hear you. Okay, it seems less pixelated now. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No.
It's okay. It's better than what it was.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't do anything differently, but okay. No, I'm not teasing you with the reveal. I'm ready. Believe me. These books have been sitting in my living room for, when did we get them? Friday. So it's this is another thing why I'm glad you were able to jump in so quickly, because if we had to wait 2 weeks for it, I would
push things around for this. I'm not going to I don't want to make anybody wait for this, especially me.
All right, but for those of you joining late, I mentioned earlier, Matt worked on some books for me that I was going to ship off to CGC to get authenticated. And I have not seen the grades. This is what my wife did for me. I don't even know if they passed the authentication or not, because I don't see the label. But this is the first book he worked on for me.
Hey, Jay, do you want to make your screen big? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want to make your screen bigger, just so
we need
everyone can see?
Okay.
There we go.
All right. This is a Looney Tunes #1 Clayton Cray variant. And the Clayton Cray signature is right here in red. You can see it.
And Jay, do you want to put us back on the screen?
Yep, I will.
I want to make sure we can see Matt's reaction.
I will.
No.
I was
Do
just
you?
showing.
No. Do you remember there was like that setting where you can kind of take up like 2/3 of the screen, and then we can. Sorry. Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
there
That
we
was
go.
There we
Sorry,
go.
we're still new with this, or I'm still new with this. Matt, do you remember working on this book? And if so, what do
Yeah,
you remember about it?
this was the easiest one. This is one that you had gotten. I guess it was directly from Clayton Crane or his people, and it came in and it had just a little. There was a couple of fingerprints that were on it, and there was just a tiny, tiny little ding in the upper right-hand corner of where the cover opens. The back was perfect, but this one was certainly the easiest of the four that you sent.
All right.
And I think this one is at worst a 9.6, but I think this one is the best candidate for a 9.8.
All right. Everyone in chat and in the comments, make your bets. What's the grade and whether it was authenticated or not, which it should because I did get it from. I got it from the seller and whatnot, but they filmed Clayton Crane signing it, and I have
Gotcha.
the video proof of it. So, ready, guys? Drum roll.
9.8.
Oh,
Nice.
Very
And
good.
yeah,
Very
they
good.
give you
9.8.
the authentication too.
So authenticated and camera 9.8.
Nice.
Very good.
Sweet.
Very, very good.
Super, super excited. Jeff, I guess the title Mr. 9.8, it's still alive. Still alive and well. This is awesome. I love this cover. You
That
know,
was
this
a
is a
good looking
good,
book. That
this
black
is
cover,
almost,
that was great.
it's not your typical horror, but this is great for
Yeah, it's
Halloween.
cool.
If you don't like Looney Tunes, you need to see this cartoons when Tweety turns into like Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde monster type thing. All right. Next up, let me see how I do this. Hold on. All right. Next up, we have a Star Wars 25.
Oh yeah, this is when you met
Okay,
Hayden.
This is when I met Hayden Christensen at Twin Cities Con. I'm going to try to do something here. And it's not going to work. Sorry, I thought I had some pictures. Maybe I can share my screen.
And I'll get some screen grabs of the final graded copies, and then I'll make some before and after reels. I've been waiting on getting the grades back too before I make
Yep.
any videos on them.
So this is this one. All right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And here we can see some of the defects. Do you remember working on this one, Matt?
Yeah, that big circle that's on the second picture from the left right there in the black, there's that dent that's right there. It's actually part of a staple that is poking up, trying to come through the front cover. And it had went through all the pages. So that was the touchiest one to work on. And you can see on the flip side, that picture right next to it, where the big circle is on the white, that's the other side of that same staple trying to come through the back. So that staple, when it got put together, it went like this. And so it started going through both ends. So trying to manipulate that down to where it would actually be flat like they're supposed to be and in line like they're supposed to be. And then working each page, each layer, one by one all the way through, and do all that by hand, and then go ahead and get the pressing started. And this book also, trying to think, this is the book that also had one of the digital codes where you can pull the sticker off and you'll get a digital code and you can get the comic book and read it online. And it had been, wherever it had been sitting, it had made an imprint on the back cover originally too. So you could see this weird little square on the left-hand side of it. And so working that back out and then protecting the book from that the rest of the way. And I'm going to quit talking because I really want to see what kind of grade it got.
All right, let's see. All right, chat. Make your bets.
And I think this one I had, according to the little piece of paper I've got stuck up here on my monitor, was probably going to be a 9.4 to a 9.6 more than likely.
I'm going with
right.
9.8. 9.6.
9.6.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there are 2 color breaks that are left over on the in the red area right there on the spine. If I'm not mistaken. They weren't huge, but those couple of those spine creases that were there, they had done some damage. So the book is perfectly flat, but it does have a couple of color breaks. I thought they would ding it for that.
Yeah.
Nice work.
No, but
Did you
this is
end
great.
up taking away that label then that was in the back?
No, it's still
No?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, basically I would just put a piece of 65-pound copy paper on that page on the front and on the back of that page. And doing that protected it from anything else
Okay.
through the rest. And then through every press, I would throw that paper away and put fresh inside so that it didn't transition any kind of dent or any kind of angles to the rest of the pages.
Gotcha. And then did you actually like disassemble the book due to that
No,
staple defect or?
no, that was just
Okay.
basically just opening it up, and you could see the perfect staple up top, so you could see
Yeah.
exactly the angles that it needed to be. So that was just grabbing the tools and just starting to manipulate it to get it to where it was back in line instead of spread out like it was.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Next up, we have The Amazing Experiment, 797, signed
I
by
like this book.
Gabriel.
I'd never seen this cover before, and I will have one of these books. I really, really like this cover.
Yeah, Delotto is really good. If you're not into him, you should follow him.
I
He's
am I am now as of that.
he's from Italy, so he doesn't do a lot of signings in the U.S. often. But let's see if I can get. Here we go. Do you remember working on this one, Matt?
Yeah, so this one, its biggest problem was the flaring that it had. It was one of those things that it acted like a book that had been, I don't know, that it had been in a moist environment, and so that cover kept trying to pull up, but it wasn't just the front cover, it was, the whole top half of the book was trying to come up. So trying to steadily work through that and get that out of there, and you can see that crease that was on the front cover was, I don't know how that factored into the flaring part of it, but from that, and there were a couple of dents inside Spider-Man's body, and I think one of them may have left a little bit of a color break, but it was perfect because it was right where some white was already. So I don't think that's going to be figured out. But this book, I've got it here as a probable 9.6, but I put as a 9.4 to 9.6 on it also.
All right, chat, do your thing.
9.8.
Mr. 9.8 does it again.
Very,
Nice.
very good.
Very cool. This is awesome.
Yeah, that book is really good. I love that art.
Yeah, if you're like Matt and didn't follow Delotto, you should follow him now and go buy some comic books that he does because he's an amazing artist.
I like where you put that sig too.
Oh,
and the color use.
I
It
couldn't agree more.
Looks really nice.
Yeah, the right color.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it
Yeah,
pops.
that's beautiful. Yeah. Yep.
And it looks even better in person than it does in camera.
I'm sure.
Oh, and I know which one's next.
This one was your boogeyman.
I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to pull any punches. This book was rough when it came.
Yes, it was.
I had, after I deleted the pictures that were either duplicates of the same thing in a different light, I still ended up with, only on the before pictures, 142 before pictures of this book front and back. And that's a little bit on the inside too and that kind of thing. But there were heavy spine creases down this book. Multiple ones broke color. There were dents inside the front cover, like in the middle of the art. Some of them were fairly significant. It was a good bit of work. This exceeded the 8-day total because there was just a lot to go with, and this paper on this book was it was kind of thinner than I really wanted it to be, so I didn't push it very hard. But I think I have this book. Well, I know that I have this book. I think it's going to be a 9.2 to a 9.4 because of the color breaks and stuff that are left on it.
Okay. And this is a Batman Dark Knight. Don't remember the number, but this one is signed by Mike Mignola, famed Hellboy artist and writer. So, okay, without further ado, chat, do your thing, guess the grade.
Yep.
9.4.
That's great. I was hoping they were going to hit it hard at a 9.2. I wanted it to be as high as it could get. So that 9.4 is right on for it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Jeff,
no,
you're still
this
needed.
is-
You're still needed, Jeff.
Yeah. He says
Nope,
he's
Jeff,
no longer
you
needed.
got nowhere to go unless you're going to move to Clemson, South Carolina. That's the only place you need to go.
Yeah, Jeff, you still have much to teach us, especially those who do cleaning and pressing, which is not me. So don't go anywhere. But that's what we had for an unveiling. So, Matt, thank you. Super
great.
happy with the results. Super happy that they all came back authenticated. I had
like
no
when we get
doubts.
I like when we get a grader that is right on par with normal CGC expectations. It's great to get that guy that's going to give you 9.8s all the time, but it stinks if you get the guy that out of 10 books, 2 of them end up getting what you think just because the guy was having a bad day. It feels like, but I'm glad we got somebody right on spot.
As Jay likes to say, he didn't eat his Snickers in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he didn't have his Snickers. And for you, it's also got to be a little bit of validation, right? That the work you're doing is actually what you think you're doing.
It really was at the start. It's I guess proof to the customer. Like I'm really comfortable with. Sometimes I'm pretty harsh on grading, but I'm really comfortable with what I think it is in the end. And it's great to have all of these hundreds of pictures that I take because CGC has gotten into this little rut of bending books. I've got 3 of them here that I've got to send back from my last submission. But it's nice to know that I can look at the book and beforehand I can go ahead and figure out, within a half a grade of what it's probably going to be. And then sometimes I'm really surprised and it's a little higher than that, but most of the time it's right on. So it's just nice that, you handle so many and you do so many ones that it all ends up just becoming just quick calculations in your head most of the time.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
So we've got about 17 minutes left. We'd like to try to keep these around an hour. But let's, Jay, did you have something to say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about what you like to collect.
So I am, if anybody ever is around me, I am the mask guy. I'm a huge 80s guy. So it's always Transformers, G.I. Joe, Mask, Voltron. That's pretty much the big 4. I love Spider-Man, Batman. There's millions of different things that I like. I've got multiple cabinets full of things that I really don't need, but I'm very, very big into Mask and Transformers, and G.I. Joe would be easily the top 3. That's the stuff that I can't usually say no to.
Do you have a lot of Mask comics? Because I haven't found a lot.
I have more than any one person really should. And speaking of Mr. Cheddar, he texted me last night, and now I have yet another full set of the first series and second series of Mask. So I don't know how many of those complete sets that I've got. I mean, it's only 4 in the first series, and then there's 9 in the second series, but not sure how many of those that I have, but I've got a good bit. It's just one of those things that they're usually not very expensive. It's a I got into Mask and Transformers because of the vehicles. So I grew up, I didn't read comics. My brother had comics, but I didn't read them. I ended up just, oh, that's a cool car. Oh, I like that. Thunderhawk is an IROC. Oh, I got to have that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So my garage out there, the shop has got, all of my G.I. Joe figures and stuff from where me and my cousin played with as a kid. All of those original toys are out there. All of our original He-Man castles and all our figures are all stood up out there in the shop with the rest of the cars out there. And so yeah, that's it.
Very cool. And do you have like a favorite cover from each of those series, like readily available that you'd be able to show us, or anything like that?
Yeah,
Anything to share?
I wasn't even planning on showing any books. I've just got stuff here that I've been working on, and
Perfect.
so I know I've got. I'm always going to go with the very first Mask cover. I always liked it because it had Rhino, loved Rhino, and Thunderhawk. Of course, Gator and Condor are on here too. So that book is generally within arm's reach at all time. If it's not here, there's one that you can't see laying flat on that, and then there's a couple more over here at this cabinet over here. But
Doug has a question for you.
Yeah. Doug, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to lead into Wolverine 17. I do have more copies of Wolverine 17 than I do any other book that I have. I think the last count was 34 or 35, I think, of the Wolverine 17s. That was just a cover that bit me. I don't have an explanation. That and Uncanny X-Men 207, both of those books just, they sunk their claws into me when I first saw them. And of course, I mean, I love Wolverine and X-Men too, so it's not like it's completely out of the blue. But those two books just, I don't know what it is, but it got me.
Yeah, it's cool. The way the claw is just like ripping through the cover. It's just a classic.
For sure.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's funny. You just end up having like this visceral reaction to what the artist did, and it's just.
And so that's another thing that I ended up doing. So when I first started hoarding comics, I'm not even going to say collecting anymore. When I first started hoarding them all, it was a thing of, oh, I do have to have everything. But then now when I open up the drawer, when I look at any book, I need it to do the same thing for me as it did the first time I saw it. And if it doesn't make me happy, if it doesn't make me for a split second forget about the real world that's outside, it's time to get rid of it. And it goes into the pile, and it'll get worked on and get sent off or raffled off or traded or something like that. So that's kind of the bar that I've set for myself on all of my books. Any art that I've got is the same way. I need it to be an escape for me every time I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. So do you sell books regularly then, or?
Yeah, I mean, I do it mostly on eBay.
Okay, I was going to ask the platform.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start doing some Instagram raffles. A lot of folks have been doing raffles and having good success with it, and I've got a lot of good keys actually. So some of the stuff that I've got here, I think all of this stuff is going to be raffle. We're going to have a really good. This is a solid 9.4-ish copy. I hadn't even started working on it yet, but we've got Wolverine 8. I don't know if you know how hard it is to get a G.I. Joe 237, but geez, these things
I don't.
Yeah. So this is actually going to get submitted. That's not going to be a giveaway.
Okay.
But yeah, we got an Uncanny 266.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Will also be a giveaway. I've got a couple of Secret Wars 8 that I've gotten.
Baby.
So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about on the raffle type stuff. So that's it. But then everything else, like I say, is on. It's just been putting it up on eBay. The fees are tough on there, so I don't love it. So if I can sell to somebody locally, I would rather do it. I really enjoy trading with people, so that somebody can get something that they really want.
Yeah.
And then I can get exactly what I want. We don't have to exchange money. We each pay for the shipping, and that kind of works. I hate that's kind of a lost art. It takes me back to a kid wanting to trade baseball cards and stuff. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool when you can find someone to work out with, for sure. But yeah, the eBay fees they're getting ridiculous. So
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt, at the beginning of the conversation, I mentioned that I had potentially a book that I wanted to send you for the McFarlane signing.
Yep.
So you're not going to be, I want your opinion because it's between this guy, which is Spider
Oh,
Man #1.
yep.
It's foily, but it's the Mexican edition,
Mhm. Yep.
which, of course, me being from Mexico, I'm curious whether I should rep my country. Probably one of his most signed covers, kind of, because it's not the Spider Man one that we know, or the original, I should say. Um, Looks pretty minty, and when I got it, the seller said it was near mint. Um, I haven't opened it to look at the back because I don't want to touch it without gloves, and I don't have any gloves.
Yep.
So it's between this one and there's a reason why I wanted to ask you about the Hulk 81 and whether you had cracked it or not, because this is the other one I was thinking of.
Yep.
This is a 9.4 Marble Tales 232, and I just like Dazzler, and who else but Spider Man?
Yep.
So I don't know. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, but I know how you and especially Nate from over there at the Hall Yeah Comics, he's a huge Dazzler fan too. And there's probably not going to be a lot of people sending either one of those books to him. So either one you choose is going to be, something that'll stand out to him. It won't be the generic Spawn #1 like I sent him that he ends up getting. So I'm game to do whichever one you'd like to do.
Which one would be the most challenging? The foily
Um,
one?
I mean, yeah, I mean, just to a certain extent, but not really. I mean, foil is kind of the same as regular paper. Uh, if there was, it's like there was on Brandon's book, it just leaves the foil break, but you pretty much just treat it the same, just a little more care, and it's a tougher book, harder to work with, but it's certainly not difficult, I should say. It's not impossible.
All right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send better pictures of the Marvel Tales 232 to see do you think it can get a big bump, and if it can
Okay.
get to that 96, 98, maybe we'll do that one. Um,
What's the first three digits on that certificate number? Is it a 45, 46 something, or is it early?
it's 380.
Okay, that's probably not going to have pictures on the CGC site. So yeah, I'd probably
No,
depend on your pictures.
no, it doesn't, and it doesn't have any notes from the graders notes because that's what I was looking for to
Okay.
see, and give you a little bit more to go on than just, crappy
Yeah,
live.
I feel sure if there's nothing glaring at it at you right now, there's a chance it's probably just some spine creases, maybe a finger bend or two that's snuck in, and yeah, there's probably potential in that one.
All right, so that's what I'll do. Yeah, it gets sold because it doesn't even have the QR code in the back.
Yep.
So definitely not pictures in there. But that's what I'll do. I'll send you a couple of pictures of this one. Get your
Yep.
thoughts on whether you can get a bump from to maybe a 9.6. Hopefully 9.8 would be ideal.
Yeah, we'll take a look
And
at
we'll
it
go
for
from
sure.
there.
I like it.
All right. And with
Cool.
that, I think we're getting towards the end of the show. Anything you have coming up that you'd like to plug, Matt?
Not any shows or anything. I usually throw out one or two before and after reels every week. Just whatever I'm working on. I need to make some YouTube videos terribly bad because I've made my last two trips to Louisiana. I think I've come back with 1,100 or 1,200 comic books total, and I haven't made a video on any of it. The last two boxes from the last trip are sitting down here. Uh, I made my first purchase of original art recently from a Transformers published book, and I haven't made a video on that, just a post on Instagram. So I've got a little bit of catching up to do. So I'll probably start getting cranked up on that this weekend, and start trying to put out a video or two a week starting next week, I hope.
Yeah, and if you're not following him, follow him.
Yep.
Puts out great content. Some of those before and after pictures are just killer. You'll see more of what he does than what I just showed you because I didn't show you all the pictures during the grade, but you saw the final results and you can see that they're great. He was right on where he thought he was going to be, and the work is excellent. Um, so just remind us again for those joining late, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube at M-Pressed Comics, and you can find me on Instagram at all one word, M Pressed Comics.
All right. You know where to
Awesome.
find them. Go follow them. Matt, Mr. 9.8, thank you so much for being our guest and just sharing all of your knowledge and your experience and going over your collection. It's been a pleasure.
Guys, I really appreciate it. It's nice to be on a stream with you for the first time. And Jay, I know I've messaged back and forth with you a good bit, but it's good to be on the stream with both of you guys and letting me ramble on for a while. And everybody in chat, really, really glad to have you, Jeff. It's good to see your words again. Look forward to talking to you again soon, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone in chat for hanging out. And thank you. We'll catch you on the next issue.
All right. Take care, everyone.